today, we are going to be planning your persuasive writing. And you've been building up to this, haven't you? So for example, you've done a success criteria, which you've previously used, which you will need to have in front of you. So for example, on our success criteria, we've got rhetorical questions, exaggerated language, powerful words, okay, modal verbs, imperative verbs. What are imperative verbs? What are imperative verbs?
They're like, are they telling you what to do?
They're bossy, aren't they? Okay. So what you're going to do first of all is you're going to look at all the information you collected yesterday. So you did lots of different research into some different areas. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pull this information together and we're going to put it out onto your planning sheets. We're going to pull it all. Now remember, this is planning, okay? We don't need sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets of writing. It is planning. It's getting your main points down onto your planning sheets. Now, there are differentiated planning sheets, which you'll find on Seesaw, and that I'm going to give you guys. So, if we look through it, we need to think about things like, first of all, what are you going to write about? What paragraphs have you chosen? What areas have you chosen to write about? So for example, you could have chosen gas masks, the blackout. Blackout's a really big subject to cover, isn't it? When we talk about the windows, all of those kind of things that you've done your research into. So for example, who is doing what? What are you going to write about? 2 to 3 paragraphs on your areas you've chosen. So things like grow your own food, how you are growing your own veg, how you're keeping your own pigs, that kind of thing. Digging for victory, isn't it? Make, do and mend. Might go with rationing, for example, like rationing of clothes, you can pull it together. When you know, which you should now know because you've researched it, your 2 or 3 subjects, we are going to put it onto your planning sheet. So, I'm going to look at this planning sheet, just to start with. So, the introduction. So it's your introductory paragraph. What's going in here? What is the point of this introductory paragraph? You all know this. What's it for?
It's telling you what the text is going to be about.
Yeah. Now, this is persuasive. So we're not actually going to put in here the nitty-gritty details about World War II when it started. It's going to be things like, you know, we want you to join us. If we are going to win, if this country is going to be the winners, we all need to pull together. Yeah, that message that you've been looking at throughout the different propaganda posters, all of those things. It's all about us all pulling together. So that is what your introductory paragraph is going to be about, the war, the effect, and us all pulling together. Okay? Yeah? So, and you're playing your part. So you're going to play your part because you're going to dig for victory. You're going to play your part because you're going to make, do and mend. It's pulling it all together. So then, paragraph 1 will be, so say for example, I'm going to choose blackout. I'm going to put in here my key points that I'm going to then expand into my paragraph. So the main points of blackout. So I've got on my little planning sheet here, no light from windows, no street lights, no car headlights, the ARP warden. I'm going to talk about how they put the tape on the windows, all of those things as well. So that's going to go in my first paragraph. Then my second paragraph, I'm going to talk about grow your own food. I'm going to talk about growing my own food, and I'm going to say about how I kept my hens and my pigs and my food scraps, how I fed my food scraps to my pigs, because this is me doing my part, isn't it? And the same, if you're going to do paragraph 3, you then choose, I may do gas masks. With some of them, you can link them into them, okay? All the time, I'm going to be referring to my success criteria. So you could write some examples of your imperative verbs. Bossy, you will, yeah? You will join, accept, do. Your modal verbs, should, would, could, may. Power of 3, that impact. This is persuasive writing, isn't it? This is what you are going to be doing. Because if we're going to win this war, we've all got to pull together, haven't we? We've all got to do our bit. And these are the paragraphs that you're going to be writing about. Then your conclusion, and you're ending, you're literally summarising, concluding what you've done up here, isn't it? About how we are going to win the war, and we're going to win it by all pulling together by doing those set things. Any questions? We're quite happy. Use your research that you've done yesterday. If you haven't quite researched all of your subjects or your areas, then you have some time to do that now. Okay? But this is literally planning, isn't it? So then when we get to the next stage, when it comes to our writing, we've got it here. If you can think of some really good sentences or something you really want to use, pop it on your plan. If need be, sometimes when I'm planning, I've filled in here, then in here I've got some facts as well, which I'm going to put in, which you would have found on your research, wouldn't you? Some facts and stats, or even you can get an expert quote in here. You could do that. If you like, you could actually make up a quote. As long as it's relevant, make up a quote. But sometimes I end up with my planning here, and there's some key words or some imperative verbs I may jot down here. Yeah, I may turn it over and write it on the back. The whole point, this is a plan for you